Testing, testing. Is anybody out there? I need someone to respond to prove I'm not dreaming. Or maybe stuck in some sort of NBA purgatory. Because never in a million years could any of us have predicted this. Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis are swapping teams, and my head is spinning with the pros and cons of it all. Let's talk about it. When the trade dropped for starters, I feel like we, as a sports community, need to take a deep exhale after how frantic NBA Twitter was the night it happened. People claimed Shams was hacked, and it was all a lie. Other reporters swooped in to say, "You have to believe him, this is real." And then other NBA players were dropping their live reactions. Use NBA player links. By 1 a.m., we all were faced with the fact that Luka was no longer a Maverick. From out of nowhere, he was traded to LA for Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. The Lakers also brought back Maxi Kleber and Markieff Morris, which didn't seem like enough. Pushing emotions aside, the logical side of NBA Twitter felt like the Lakers robbed Dallas. The Lakers only had to put up a single first-rounder. The Suns had to give up Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, 4 first-round picks, plus an extra swap for Kevin Durant, a superstar who is an entire decade older than Luka. Durant package. And we should probably congratulate the Minnesota Timberwolves, because this could dethrone the Rudy Gobert pick for the most hated trade by a fan base. Wolves had to give up 4 first-round picks plus 5 players, one of which being Walker Kessler. So I raise the question again, Mavs could only get AD, a young player, and a single first. Rudy package. Well, if you ask Dallas's GM, AD made all other potential phone calls worthless. Nico Harrison has a past relationship built with Davis after working with Nike. He was quoted as saying that defense wins championships and believes they're set up to win now and in the future with this trade. Defense wins championships. Don't get me wrong, Davis is a defensive monster, and we'll get into a deeper discussion on that in a second. But you have to wonder if Nico jumped the gun on this trade. Reports show that the Mavericks only called one other team besides LA maybe. Another team was offered Luka. We'll have to see if more news gets leaked about that and what the other team was. One could assume that if they wanted a steady All-NBA big man, that leaves just 2 other teams. Show Nikola Jokic and Victor Wembanyama. Or this has been what they wanted for a while. Reports also indicate that Nico talked to Pelinka about a superstar swap as early as January 7th. January 7th talk. What's interesting is how hush-hush it all was. We know none of the players knew, but even Jason Kidd, the franchise head coach, wasn't told. This was treated like national security threat level knowledge. Kidd didn't know for Dallas. But if we disregard the future projections of both stars, ignore the age difference and focus on the next, say, 2 years, how does Dallas look now? Honestly, it might be one of the most balanced rosters in the league. Kyrie is back to being a team's primary ball handler. And then you have a capable backup in Dinwiddie. On the perimeter, you have Clay, Grimes, and Marshall. And then, down low, you can pair up AD, PJ, Lively, and Gafford depending on the matchup. Sure, some of those names aren't eye-popping, but where's the odd man out? The big news for Anthony Davis is that he now plays as the power forward for most of his minutes. He's had a career-long battle with the center position, but now with Gafford and Lively, he has finally won. Before this trade, Dallas was 3rd for around the rim defense and only 0.2% away from the first-ranked Cavs. Now you throw in Davis, and it might be impossible for teams to get a layup in Dallas. Plus, AD can hold his own around the perimeter. A defensive category, the Mavs could jump up to the top 10 with just a 1% increase. And then, on the other side of the ball, it's impossible to trade a guy like Luka and not worry about your offense. But this is where trading one All-NBA guy for another simplifies things. The Dallas offense now transitions from a 2 guards, ball-dominant offense to a more balanced approach with their leading guard and big man. People were worried about a Dame Giannis pick and roll when Milwaukee made the Dame trade, but how about this Kyrie and AD dynamic? Davis can set a screen, crash the paint, or step to the side for a reliable mid-range jumper. Using the advanced stats on cleaning the glass, we can see AD ranks in the 93rd percentile of players for mid-range shot frequency. 48% of his shots are somewhere in the mid-range. And yes, he can stretch the floor to an extent, but this year, only 11% of his shots are around the arc, a number for Dallas that puts a big emphasis on the shooting of Thompson, Grimes, and PJ. Speaking of PJ, does he move from playing 4 and 5 to 4 and 3? Dallas might say, hey, the Cavs play 2 centers and are unstoppable. Let's one-up them. Or you have PJ come off the bench as one of the leaders of the second unit. Bolstered bench depth could be key to a deep playoff run, relying on a star duo over 30. Davis is under contract until the end of 2028, making him 35. Kyrie has a player option available for next year, which you would think he'd pick up, but this is Kyrie Irving. You never quite know what that guy's gonna do. For LA, another guy that everyone has their eyes on to see how they react to this trade is LeBron James. Reports stated that LeBron had no idea this trade was coming, and he's had to process things before coming out with any actual statement. Davis was a great superstar sidekick to put next to James, but that wasn't the original plan when they brought in AD. He was meant to take the torch from LeBron and let James transition to the sidekick role. But as we know, that hasn't happened. LeBron has defied all logic and continues to be the leader of the Lakers. But now we have a real situation that mirrors the Magic and Kareem partnership. Kareem enjoyed his twilight years battling for championships because of the young hotshot point guard. Luka's a bit older than Magic was, but the point still stands. Doncic will finally be the teammate who lets LeBron scoot over to the passenger seat. If LA can get this roster construction right, this could be a magical next couple of years for the franchise. Also, I'm talking about LeBron in that kind of scenario, because reports show the Lakers have no interest in trading LeBron and doing a complete reboot around Luka. LeBron will remain in LA. Some of you might be saying, yeah, well, Dallas also said they would never trade Luka. And to that, I'd say, you're absolutely right. Always expect the unexpected. But for now, let's take the Lakers at their word and say, LeBron is here to stay. How does this roster look for the next couple of years? For starters, they have a massive hole at the center position now. Analysts predict LA to stay active before the trade deadline and use that last first-round pick they have to send to a team for a big man. Claxton or Williams, 2 LA fits. If they could bring in someone like Claxton or Robert Williams, I think the Lakers have a good chance at staying around the 6th or 7th seed. But I wouldn't anticipate them making a deep run this year. The Lakers are currently 12th in offensive rating and 18th in defense. We talked about elite rim protection in Dallas. Despite having Davis, LA was still the 3rd worst interior defensive team in the league. Switching out Davis for a Claxton or Poltel might make that dead last. Not to mention the perimeter problems the Lakers would face if their closing lineup included Luka, Reeves, and LeBron, which it surely will because those are the 3 offensive creators. Doncic might get frustrated about the lack of defense on the team, but you know what he's about to love? LA is first in free throw attempts per game. Luka is going to have a field day with this game model. Jokes aside, Luka could elevate this offense enough that the defensive holes don't matter in making the playoffs. He's going to raise their three-point shot attempts from the bottom because of his own shot, but also to create easier looks for others. When you have LeBron and Doncic strategizing on the floor, shooters better be ready for open shots. But the reality is that this trade wasn't for this year. Dallas decided to get out of the Luka of the future business, and LA signed on for it. Despite his conditioning issues, the Lakers hope LeBron's self-care routine rubs off on Doncic to get this guy in better shape. Letting LeBron ride off into the sunset these last few years, and LA transition to a new era. Conclusion: only time will tell if it'll come to form, though. There's an itch in the back of my brain, wondering if Dallas knows something about Luka's conditioning they're not fully sharing. He's weighed as much as 270 pounds, making him the 7th heaviest active player, and he's a point guard. So, with his weight and soft tissue injuries, is there a scenario where this doesn't age well? What if LA can't build as balanced a roster as Dallas could? There's a scenario where that happens, and Dallas is hit while the iron is hot and wins a ring in the next handful of years. We would look at this trade way differently if that manages to happen. Although I might not bet on that, I think Dallas has a better team than the Lakers, but LA has a brighter future. What do you guys think? Is this the worst trade in modern NBA history? Or did Dallas realize they were holding a ticking time bomb? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.